All right, everybody, welcome. My name is John Ziamba. I'm the Director of Technology at this office. And today we're going to learn about how to start to get the DotLoop system ready for you to use in your transactions. DotLoop is a transaction system where you can fill out forms and use e-signature to be able to complete your transactions. We also use it for office compliance to make sure that you send in all your contracts and your buyers and seller listing agreements. Okay, I think everyone's had a chance to log in and they're here at my KW. Anybody not here? I know you guys are still getting ready here. So anybody that's here, what we're going to do is what I'm going to do is here. I'm just going to do a demonstration of how easy what I'm showing you is going to do. So at this point, I just want everybody to watch as people are getting ready, and then we're going to do it together. So the first thing to keep in mind, and you don't have to follow here, you can just watch, is when you log into DotLoop, screen like this. And what you'll notice about this one is that it's got a black and red color scheme to it. If you log into your DotLoop account and it's a blue screen, we need to get in touch with support to get it fixed. Okay, so if you're coming with the blue screen, let me know and we'll get in touch with support.
Where did you go from my KW to?
We're going to watch right now and then we'll go through it all together.
Okay.
So if you see on your profile here, and just something to know, is that will always show you your member ID here. And if you call support, you will need that member ID to talk with support. I just point that out now because we might get there. And then if you scroll down to the bottom of any page, you will see that the DotLoop support number is at the bottom of every page. I can't do it on this one because it keeps refreshing here. But what I'll show you on another screen. How to do it. So we'll see on the bottom of every screen that there is the call number here, right? So if you're going to call in, you want to use that number at the bottom of the screen, and then your member ID is also down there as well. Otherwise, if you don't have your member ID, it's going to be very difficult for you to get help support because it uses that to authenticate you as a user, because they have different levels of service, and certain levels of service don't get support, or they're not paying for support. So today, what my goal is to get you to create a folder which has your purchase contract and your pamphlets in there, so that every time that you go and do a buyer's contract, all your information is filled out in the contract. What we're going to do, and again, we're watching right now, is we're just going to create a once we create the folder, we're just going to add the appropriate for a buyer's purchase contract. And typically what I find is we all use the same purchase contract, which is the multi-board 6.1 contract. And then what I'll also do is I'll also put the pamphlets in there. The pamphlets in there, the radon and leather-based pamphlets in there, so you can send that to your buyer, because they don't need to print out or sign them. But as long as you've given to them, you've fulfilled your requirements as part of the contract and as part of the law. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to edit the information that's on this template. And the reason why we're doing this versus doing this, that there's a couple different ways that this can be done. Once we do this correctly, we'll never have to do this again until they come out with a new contract, and then you guys can come back to one class. But in the meantime, this will auto-populate all the stuff, but with the correct values. We want to make sure that the values are correct, whereas sometimes when it autofills an agreement with transaction details, what you'll see is sometimes they're incorrect. So we're going to make sure that everything's correct by doing this process here. So typically what I find in a buyer's contract is the most important area is the last page, right? Because as an agent, that's the one where all your contact information is put in here. Now remember, we're creating a template. All the information that we say here is typically never going to change. And if you look at the screen, contract, pretty much all of this information here on the top left and every buyer's transaction, if you're representing the buyer, is never going to change. Does that make sense to everybody? Right? Yeah. Even if you belong to different boards and so forth, the buyer's contract is usually pretty much universal. So I'm just going to put a couple values in here. And does everybody have the card with them?
Yes.
Okay. If you have your pocket card with you, by law, right?
At all times.
At all times with you, right? If you do, we're going to need the information off of there. I think if one person has it, we'll be able to at least get the office information there. All right, so I'm just going to show you, just going to briefly do this quick example for my particular office. So if my computer would cooperate with me, I could actually fill in the contract here. So I'm just going to click save here. We have a little bit of lag between me trying to stream this online and stream it on the TVs and all that stuff. There's a little bit of lag. So if I do this correctly, I should be able to show this just as an example here. When I created, like this was a normal transaction here, which we're not going to cover this today. I just want to show you, we're going to test it and make sure that it works. When we go and create a loop, when we load this form, we should see that the form has all the proper information here. So it's simple as this. When I do a template here, when I want to create a transaction, I just simply click on templates. This works pretty well. I'm going to come over to my buyer's template here. I'm just going to simply select that, click copy. And then when I open it, ask me a whole bunch of details here. We're going to skip that part, and I just want to show you how it adds all the information in. Now, I have another class scheduled. I believe it's for next week, and I believe we're going to change the time here depending on everybody's schedule and what the schedule is. Today we're doing buyer's agreements. Next week we're going to do purchase. We're going to do listing agreements. And because some of you belong to different boards here, it's very important everybody's DotLoop is connected properly and is looking with red and black and not the blue background. Okay? So we have to make sure that it's going to be your homework when you leave here to make sure that everything is correct. So if I go down to the last page here, you can see the information that I filled in here to pre-populate is already populated on the bottom of the screen here, right? It's just showing you guys an example. So that'll be pretty nice once we get this all working properly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start over into the part where we can all follow along. Log into mykw.com. I think everybody's here. Are you guys logged in?
Your password's not working. It might have gotten changed or something. But let's follow along with it.
Okay, so if everybody's here, the easiest way to go to get into DotLoop is simply click on the part where it says Start My Transaction. Okay? If for some reason you can't get into MyKW or there's any issues, you can go directly to DotLoop.com and log in. It will take you to the same system. Okay, there's no difference. It's just a different point of logging in. So that everybody understands. Because occasionally what will happen is sometimes MyKW might go down, and you may not be able to log in this way. So you can just go to DotLoop.com as a backup. So everybody that's here, if you could click on Start My Transaction. Okay. When you load My Transactions, you'll see that it'll pull up your, what they call your loops. For explanation purposes, a loop is a transaction. Okay. So what we're going to do is everybody that's here, you'll see that there's these 5 icons up here, right? So we have dashboard, loops, tasks, people, and templates. Today we're going to be working with the templates right now. So if you're here, click on templates. Everybody able to find that okay? All right, so everybody is here at My Transactions and Templates. So what we have to do first is we have to create a folder for these documents. All right, because the folder is going to hold the purchase agreement. The folder is going to hold the lead-based paint pamphlet and the radon pamphlet. So what we can do is if we see in this red bar, we can go over here and click on New Folder. And now we're going to name our folder. And I would just name it Pre-Filled Out Buyer's Contract. You guys don't use the 6.1? Well, the process is the same. It's just a matter of getting the same contract in there. And then one thing we have to do is make sure we get your documents linked up.
We're doing the same one as before, the 6.1 multi-board.
Yeah. So, okay. So has everybody created a folder here? Yes? Anybody not created a folder? All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click on the templates section. And what you should see, I don't know because I'm logging in my personal account, is you should see something in there that says Main Street Organization on the left side, or CAR. Some of you guys remember the CAR. I don't know who's member of what. Can you see something in there that says either Main Street or CAR, whichever one is? Main Street, okay, CAR. So I typically do the demo on Main Street. So if you see CAR, whichever one you belong to, that's the one you should click in.
CAR interactive form.
Correct. So whatever association, does everybody see this? Anybody not have these options? Right, we're good, everybody's good?
I'm just wondering if my board would have that multi-board in there.
You know what, I thought they all did.
Oh,
All of MRED's territory did. Do you see your board on here? Is yours?
Yeah.
And is Kaifar on there or no?
yeah.
Oh, the forms are in there?
Like 3 things on there.
Okay, well,
Purchase contract,
but that may be the only 3 documents that are, that they have, I don't know. We'll talk about that. We'll figure that out. So everybody that's in Main Street Organization or whatever folder you're in, okay, there's this convenient search right here. And what we can do is we're going to search for each document one at a time. I just find this way does it the easiest. So the easiest way to find the 6.1 is just to search 6.1, and then you'll see it'll bring up several results. You want to select the one that says multi-board residential real estate contract. In this case, it happens to be the middle one. And then we're going to click the copy button. Okay. Once you do this once, we're going to do this 2 more times. Okay. Any questions?
So it says, make a copy, mine says to loop, right? Or to templates.
The templates.
Copy. We're not checking, hit copy to, right?
There's no charge. But I don't have to hear it in person yet. Oh, because I overheard people like you just joined or something, they've been, yeah. Remember, that's what
Yeah,
you
I'm
said.
not sure. I just want to make sure that we're doing that.
This is how we do it.
Click here.
I think you did. I don't think you were in the folder when you did that.
Yeah.
We weren't inside. So it was like, where do I send it to? Okay, so now that we've done this one, we're going to do this 2 more times.
And I say, okay.
Click OK. So we're going to do it 1 more time. And now this time we're going to do, same procedure, we're going to do the radon pamphlet. Because even though this one is a 2-page thing, so it's not that big to print out, the lead-based paint is about, what is it, about 22 pages. So what I like to do is just to be able to email people the stuff.
Which one do you want, John, the disclosure form or the?
The pamphlet.
Form releases?
So if we look here on the screen here, I'll get to your question in a minute. I'm in Main Street's forms. I typed in radon. The third one that comes up is radon testing guidelines for real estate. We're just doing the form, the pamphlet. We're not doing the actual disclosure because the disclosure is gotten from the listing agent. Right? So we're just sending them the pamphlet to say, hey, here's the issues that potentially are with radon. Okay. After that happens, we're going to do that 1 more time.
Wait a minute. Which one? I had 2 right on. 3.
Is the one with the radon testing guidelines? All right, so let's just do this. Or make it harder for you. All right.
You can go with it.
Okay, so the next one we're going to do is we're going to do the lead-based paint pamphlet. So if we're here, you want to do the same procedure.
This is lead-based paint manual.
Lead-based paint manual. And we're going to copy that into the template section. Once you get those three there, I want everybody to click on the one that says IL multi-board residential contract and let it open up here. The one that says multi-board residential contract. Yeah, just, you don't click on the nut, click on it. Okay, so you can just try to add the templates without being inside the folder. So I'm trying to do it so click on the multi-board residential contract. Okay, so everybody should have this, right?
Yep.
Were you able to get that out? Okay, cool. Yeah, no, you should have to pay. We'll have to get this. Yeah. Okay. All right, so everybody's here? Okay. Everybody that is here, can you scroll down to the last page?
Okay, this is really weird. There's somebody else's information in my Kankakee contract. Is that not weird?
Yeah, that's
She
you.
probably sent you something at one time.
I know what the issue is. You're using a Kankakee. I know what the problem is. Somebody put it in the wrong spot is the issue.
Okay, so will I be able to?
It's stuck now. So I can't. So which one are you? Let's see. Are you on this list here? Three Rivers, Oak Park, North Shore, Iroquois Ford County Association of Realtors. So you guys can use this. You are allowed to use this form.
Right, you do that.
So if you are, go into Main Street and just grab it from the Main Street forms. Because otherwise we're going to have an issue.
Yeah, but what about, because this is the one that I use the most.
Yeah, well,
So am I going to be able to change that?
not today. Not right, not at the moment here. So if you want to follow along, we're going to use this form
Okay.
for today, since that's the one that I know how to use. I don't know how to use anybody else's
Okay,
forms.
so I'm Three Rivers, so going to Three Rivers, right?
You're in Three Rivers,
Main Street. I know
but
that.
go into Main Street and you can get a copy of this.
That's fine, Main Street Organization.
Okay, so for those of you who are here, fill out your personal information here, right? So you are the buyer's agent in this transaction, so you want to fill out the buyer's information. Now, I don't know your MLS number. I don't know your office MLS number. I don't know your office license number. I'll get that shortly here because what do we have? We have CAR, right? We have Kaifar, Main Street. Which one are you in?
More, which
More.
is Main Street.
Right. So each board has a separate MLS number for the same office. Okay. So we can work on getting that for everybody.
I want to know what else I've noticed, that a lot of these are old and not up to date. A lot of the contracts that are in there, is this the latest?
All the contracts that are in the board forms should be the absolute latest up to date because it's uploaded by the board. But all the forms that are uploaded by the board should be the absolute latest. And if they're not, then we can work on fixing it. Because these are controlled by the board, they're not controlled by any other party, Keller Williams or anybody else. So they are supposed to keep the forms updated.
You have the Keller Williams MLS and state license. I know I've been written somewhere, I just don't know it offhand.
We'll look for it here in a minute.
I'm stuck.
So the Keller Williams,
Okay, so the state, where it says state license number, that my license, that's the company's license.
that's the company's license number.
I don't know that.
We're working on that right now as we speak. I have it right here. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to display it to everybody.
Okay.
This one will stay the same for regardless of the board of realtors, regardless of your office, it's the same license. One three two seven five two. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, that's the wrong number. Given. Sure.
You can almost read it.
Okay, this is the Illinois license number. So this is where it asks for the MLS. I'll go through each one and we're going to figure out what it is. Anybody having any problems filling out any of the information on the form? Yes.
I missed a step and I don't know where you are.
Okay. That's what we're filling out right now.
Got it, okay.
Anybody know the car number? Main Street, anybody?
What number?
The office MLS number? I'll find it here.
I finally got into this,
Okay.
but now it won't let me do anything in it.
What color is yours?
It's red and black,
Okay.
but when I tried to put anything in, I get a red circle with a line through it.
Okay. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Okay, there you are. 8514.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Hey, thanks, Chris. I appreciate all your participation here. I don't know what I'd have done without you.
Exactly it. That is exactly.
So there's the one for,
So where does that go?
that goes in the spot where it says office MLS number. This is the one for Main Street. So now we all have the information everybody needs to fill these forms out. Is everybody that has been caught up, has everybody filled out the information? You guys need a minute.
What's 610?
So am I never gonna be able to do this then?
We have to get the right forms.
So I don't have the right one here. I did the multi-board here, right? Oh, that's what I need to do.
See, I have folders, but I can't.
Okay, I'm definitely confused here.
But what's this gonna do when I'm not, since I'm not doing this?
Well, I'm just pulling the foot, doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
What?
Yeah.
You guys have permission to use this one, so.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So what we're doing here is going to the last page. You fill it out now, at least you always have it in case you need to use it as a backup contract. Okay.
Cause I thought it said that one up there, that 481, blah, blah, blah.
That's for the license number. So I have the MLS number here.
Where does that go?
Okay, so what I'm noticing here is if you type in Keller Williams Preferred Realty, it's outrageously long. And it kind of, next box.
Okay.
Where I'm gonna show you how to fix that. What you can do is you can change the font settings.
Oh, yeah.
Can we just leave off realty?
Well, you can, but if you highlight it, you see up here that there's a font setting here. You can make the font smaller. And then it'll be easier to see that box.
What would you
that
like?
you're
I still need to know where
What's that?
No, I just.
Just type it in after this one. because your form is digitized differently. So I see next time we're gonna use Main Street for everybody.
Well, this is just Main Street.
Well, it's the same form. It's just that when Car uploaded it, they had it digitized one way. When Main Street uploaded the same exact form, they had to digitize another way.
So put the thingy after in here. Just put a dash and put the thing.
Yeah, that's fine. You good? All right, for everybody that's here, that's anything, just click the right corner and click save.
Everybody knows the address.
Yeah, does everybody know the address? I know you guys have a different address, right? So put in the address of the office, either this one, Chicago, or Bourbonnais, or the one that you work on.
Can you go back?
I think it's, I don't know if it's working. Oh, yeah. What's that?
We don't have.
I didn't want to say that, but
Thank you.
Max is gonna go.
Looks like it's gonna be okay, right?
VCR.
Yeah, that's true.
oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
No, the same.
This is all brokerage.
Yeah, it's good, beautiful.
We put the.
So,
Okay.
what we're gonna do here now, we have two options here. We can go through the contract really quick and make some additional edits to the contract. Is that okay with you guys? We spend a few minutes to do that,
Yes,
okay?
I'll speak to everybody.
I was like,
So-
I can't shake it.
Now, I'm just telling you, I'm not the managing broker, so if he was teaching a contracts class, he might teach it a little bit different. I'm not saying what he's saying is wrong, nor am I saying that anything I'm saying is right. I just find that this is the easiest way for me to use the contract. Okay. So everybody should still be here inside their contract.
Yeah, I don't like the lines on this. Because you don't know if you're writing above or below, it drives me nuts. So, is this the buyer's brokerage? That would be the first line, right?
So you're
And
right
then, so
above
what goes here?
your name. You're good.
Okay.
Now you just got to type in the designated agent. Okay, so a couple things that I do to make this easier in practice for myself is just to make, I am a believer of I typically, when I do this, is I only give earnest money once. I don't want to have to go back to a buyer and give earnest money again. Does it always work? 95% of the time it works. The other 5% of the time, I have to change this. So what I do just ahead of time, lines in here. Just to show that it's not going to be done. And I typically will be, by default, is I'll just pick the seller's brokerage as the person that's going to hold the earnest money.
Okay, question,
Yes.
because I understand that Keller Williams holds the money.
When you're writing a buyer, so typically in a buyer's transaction, office holds the earnest money. That isn't universal. That's probably about 75% of the time. And then the other 25% of the time, it might be other. Or if it's a bank-owned property, it may not be the office at all. There are offices that choose not to hold any.
Okay.
Okay. I just put seller's brokerage so that I don't forget to check it. And if it gets changed, it gets changed. Anything that you put in here, you can always change.
Hey, John,
Yes.
on line 7, just per survey,
You know, the reason why I don't put that in there is what do you do on a condo? Right? So, well, are you gonna, so I fill that in on a contract basis because probably 50% of mine are townhome condos versus.
And for us, a lot of them we don't do surveys for a lot of, like even homes and stuff where we're at.
The local lender, they don't require it usually.
I think I need to move down where you guys are at.
And it's not built in our contract either.
So I go down to number 9 here. Paragraph 9, line 82. And what I do by default is I just mark has not for each one of these. Okay, and then what you will see is after line 86 on the next page, there's line 87. All right. Then on the next thing is line 97. I always put in there 110%.
Whoa.
Yep, me too.
Well, that will tell me, when I submit a contract, that will tell me exactly how sharp the other realtor is. Because 70% of the time it gets by. Right? But I already know. Now, the attorneys always catch it, but I know the realtors usually don't.
Why do you put has not in all the disclosures?
Because occasionally I'll write up a contract where I won't have them. Make sure I have something checked to protect myself and or my client. And if I pick has not, once they sign them, they've received it. So it nullifies that. Right? Once they sign the disclosure, they can't say we haven't received it once they sign it. Right?
Because it's tangible, they have it in their hand.
Right, so just in case, because a lot of times I will send this contract over before I have the disclosures. Probably most of the time that's what happens for me.
So if we put have not received these, and then they finally get it, we get it to them, the disclosures,
Right.
are we talking about? Then we come,
It'll
just come back.
Well, you wouldn't have to change it because now they've received it. At the time that you did the contract, they hadn't received it. Now they've received it, you don't need to change it because
Yeah, but aren't they already in DotLoop? Like if you're doing it with DotLoop?
If you're doing on a
didn't
purchase,
you just attach all
if you're
those?
doing a purchase agreement, at the time I don't have the transactions when I'm submitting my offer. I don't have them.
But that's law.
Well, I might get them. They have to be signed before we have a full contract. I may not have them before I sign the contract.
Oh, okay.
Right? They might be uploaded in the MLS or something. I can't find them.
I meant like specifically like the pamphlets.
Right. So we're going to give them the pamphlets, and then but this just protects me in case I forget to send them or something like that. That doesn't mean I'm never going to give it to them. I'm just saying at the time I may or may not have, and I can change this.
Just want to see why it got.
Right.
Okay,
So line 259, what I always do is at 261 is I always put is not. Right? So we're not in a special service area. There's no proposed special assessment. Line 259 and 261.
But why do you do that as default? I mean, every situation is different.
Because
Well,
here,
you're saying that you could change it.
yeah, so I just want to make
But
sure.
wouldn't it be the same difference just to go in and fill it out?
Look, I'm all about speed. I can write this contract in 5 minutes.
That's what I'm saying.
If I have to
You
go-
Change all that stuff in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, but
Fill it in and-
try slow. You can, but like I said, I'm about speed. So if I have it filled out, I don't have to change it. And if I change it on the specific thing,
He's not saying you have to do it his way.
Right.
He's just saying this is how he does it. You can choose to do it this way or not.
Gotcha.
But he's only coming back to him if you forget to change it
well,
later. You got a problem with your contract.
Right? That's why I'm better at, for me, I think just leave
Yeah.
it blank, because it takes 2 seconds as you're going along. But that's me, so we're different.
yeah. So everybody,
No, I would probably do the same thing
You know, in
as
case you
you.
forgot.
Yeah.
but see, that's why I have it as no, so I protect the client. So service there, because if there is, and maybe it's not always disclosed on the MLS sheet properly that this isn't a special, or that there's a proposed special assessment on your condo for $5,000 coming next year that we're going to try not to tell you.
Yeah, so then if you've got that checked, and then it turns out that it is, then you can renegotiate the contract? Is that-
Potentially,
Yes.
right?
Right.
At the time, the listing agent should say, hey, look, if you check no, there's a proposed thing before we sign the contract, let's get this straightened out.
Okay.
All right, so after we did all that, it looks like we should be good. Information on the last page. And then we're just going to click save. Okay, so everybody's here and everybody's saved. We're all at the same point.
Okay,
No.
no.
I got lost.
We just if we just fill this out,
Minutes ago.
we should click on save in the top right corner.
Mine says, oh, yeah.
Okay. So then you should come back to a screen like this. You'll see this red arrow in the top left here. Okay, we're going to click on that arrow.
Right there, okay.
Is the arrow right where my cursor's at? Okay. Once you get back here, there's going to be a menu item here that says loops. We're going to click on loops.
Where's the menu?
Yep. Click on loops. Now we're going to click in the red menu bar. We're going to click one that says create a loop. Okay. Once you're here and you create the loop, we're going to call this pre-filled out by, I would call it blank, pre-filled out buyer's contract. Were you guys able to get to the loops? Okay. And then we should get some kind of a screen that looks like this. Everybody there?
Do we say create the loop?
Yes, create the loop. Okay. Now we're going to click on templates. And then we're going to find a folder, which we have that in there, which we should have called it like pre-filled out buyer's contract. We'll have those 3 files there in that folder. And what we can do now is simply click the select all and then copy that right in there.
I didn't get that part because I was not, so I don't have that. Yeah.
That's importing that. So it's importing that template in there. Now, does everybody have these 3 documents here? Right? So now, if we did this correctly,
Mine says master though. 6.1, it says master.
So I thought that's what I was trying to get in. I thought it was
Master.
yeah, just click OK. That's just the way that card labels it. So
Mars getting ready to get on my nerve.
if everything is correct, we should be able to click on this contract.
Hey, I just had a light bulb. Can I upload my own K-car contract
No.
in there and pre-fill it out?
No. So what we have to do is
I have to have word with someone.
well, here's the problem. We have to figure out how to get the KIFAR forms in there. It's probably just a matter of a simple phone call. I'm not a member, so I can't make the phone call. They won't talk to me. So we can talk about it after class and figure out how to get them in there. Because I got to do it for the whole office, not just the people that are here. So like, as there's a a more Main Street, there's gonna be a Kaifar one that's gonna have the right forms that are blank, that have filled out. All right, so for this class, you're gonna get a pop-up like this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go up to the top of this, write X. Here. Okay. So once you're in here, you should be able to check and make sure if you go down to the bottom page, you should be able to see all your information in there. Did this correctly. Put it in there? Good. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to check on next week's class here, because I think we're going to change it.
You're right. John, we brought lunch for you. Homemade lasagna.
Next week, I believe, is the 18th, correct?
Yeah. Next Monday.
Next Monday is the 18th. We are going to do this class from 2 to 3. Is everybody okay with that?
The 18th.
Just a minute, that's my.
No, I gotta pick up my daughter on the bus at 3 o'clock, so this is why I've been with the company for a long time. And they always do it because most people have their kids raised by now, but I had a oops. So it was like, okay, great, now, you know, she gets off the bus at 3, and so I can never
So
get
part
there.
of,
It's only 5 minutes from here,
Right,
but
so-
it's like, can we do 2:45, 1:45 to 2:45? Does that work for everybody?
well, so here's what I'm going to ask. If everybody can get here on time with their computers ready to go, because Kate, we started a little bit late today, right? We're going to just do the basic, same thing we did with the listing contract. Since we're all going to be set up and already have been able to log in there, it should go a little bit faster. So if you have to leave a little bit early, okay. Is that okay? And the only reason why I can't do it earlier is because there's other things going on. And there's a group coaching right now where the people that are paying to be in coaching are here instead of being in coaching. And there should not be. The other, let's see.